I think that one of the important issue is, yeah, teachers need to be involved, parents need to be involved, and the children need to be involved. I'm not sure how many of you know that when we started this program and we had all aspects of development, all aspects of adolescent and development, a lot of it being academics, a lot of it is being on, nutrition, safety, and a part of it was on relationships, and a part of it was on sexuality. And we took it over 3 years, and we, field tested it, established in 261 schools in Karnataka, and subsequently I have done at least 100, in-person workshops with various NGOs, both within NIMHANS and outside NIMHANS. And one of the biggest problems I still have, we have an e-group of when you ask them, now that you have gone back, now that you have become a facilitator and you have gone back, and in your schools, what is happening? And one of the things which most of the educators, life skills educators, tell me is when we talk about, even when we have done academic, classes, and then we want to go on to sexuality, starting just about puberty, in boys' school masturbation, and you start and then you say, can I run this class? There's a significant resistance. And to the extent, all life skills, anything which was called life skills, stopped in this country with 2 public litigation cases. People from Gujarat, people from Gujarat will know, people from Rajasthan will know, Tamil Nadu know, they all stopped. Okay, so, and parents, teachers union was one thing which objected to this. They said, we are not sex educators. We will not be able to do this. We should not be doing this. Let doctor come and do it. Doctors, how many doctors will have the time to come to a school and do it repeatedly? Because romance is not explained by a 30 minutes talk. It has to be a continuous input by parents, by teachers, whoever is working with the adolescent. Nothing can be learned in like that. So it needs to be a continuous process. Life skills or a lifelong learning. And somebody saying that let a doctor come and tell our children about sexuality. We are not here to say this. So the teachers union had a lot of problems. Parents had, came with cudgels saying that, your school is to teach mathematics and science, not about all these things. We are here to teach them, and we will, and these need not be, our culture does not need these to be told. So while all these things are quite, it may happen in some schools on a uniform basis, if we try to push it in, I have seen it in my own lifetime, even today, because I run workshops, and then I ask them, what are the type of classes, life skills classes you have done in your schools where you are associated? That's the same with drug abuse also. They are saying that my children is not using drugs. You come and do all these things, and my child become curious and starts smoking cigarette. It's the same with drug abuse and sexuality. And the same thing, many parents say, my girl is very, very innocent. You come and talk about, child abuse and sexual abuse and things like that. And then they unnecessarily become paranoid or curious. So I just wanted to know about other people who are able to do it very successfully, because she told that she had an open communication with her children. But I say at the same time, it's a very normal, process to feel infatuated, to have crush on your teachers, on a hero, and then, sort of not keep it at abeyance. We need to understand, even as parents and as teachers, we need to understand both the positive side and the negative side. Only when a child takes a decision and acts, impulsively, behaves impulsively, then it becomes a difficulty. As long as the adolescent understands the emotions and acts, which is not very, very difficult, then it is all right. Those are experimenting. But to run away or become pregnant, but we can never say what a child can do, what an adolescent can do. That's something, yes, parents in a lot of houses. So what I am trying to say is the parents and the teachers have to look at their own sexuality also and not just take a class or a lecture for the sake of doing it.
Hello, Dr. Srikala. It was a pleasure listening to all of you. I just wanted to second what you actually very eloquently put it, which is even in colleges, when we have tried to talk about sexuality, when we have tried to, talk about romance or understand even the concept of love, it's been shut down by the authorities. My question is that when we are now trying to look at also doing parent workshops in the lower community areas where there is a lot of violence that the child is witness to, a lot of stress, and during the pandemic it was quite bad. How do you suggest we take this parent workshops in understanding and giving them an opportunity to express what is their concept of love, romance, instead of kind of telling them, bringing them to an understanding of what do they feel about it? Because what goes around comes around. I mean, it's, there is a lot of telling that we have tried to do and it's not worked.
Yeah, I always believe in not in telling. For example, one of the aspects which we bring out the violence and the gender issues is to know aspect. We have a game of gender issues, how men see women and how women see men, and what is the real self, what is the imagined self. So it is an activity which we do, and then when we put it up, they are able to see what is it that the other party is thinking about them, and a lot of violence and comes in that women can be seen as second rate citizens, that they need to follow what men say, that it is a patriarchal society even today, even in the best of the houses, egalitarian houses. All those things come in there. You start the discussion, and no parent can stay in your workshop for more than an hour. So it needs to be a continuous one. And many of us and many of the parents do not, when they know that there is going to be some shaking of the homeostasis, because even in a violent house, there is a homeostasis. When an outsider goes and shakes up the homeostasis, there can be a lot of disturbance, and not every family is able to stay with that sort of a churning and then find a new homeostasis. These are some of the things which you have to understand and accept it and flow. That's why, when we talk about well-being, and I'm a psychiatrist also who looks at pathology all the time, abnormalcy all the time. And I always feel in the last 42 years of my profession, it's much easier to address pathology than promote mental health well-being. It's a much more difficult because it's an easy concept, but the most difficult concept. So I'm not Amita. I do not know whether your experience is the same as mine. When you deal with parents, especially domestic violence, it's a very difficult issue.
When we do these parent interactions, would it help if we do the mother and separately and the father group separately, or do we kind of do it together?
Yeah. For example, if you think that if by doing the mother separately and father separately, you start with that. But where will you then merge it? So as I said, you need somewhere along the line, you will hold 2 workshops for mothers to understand their needs and everything and their difficulties. You do with the fathers. But somewhere along the line, it has to come together. No, otherwise, it just stays apart. They stay with their needs and they stay with their rights. Yes. So where do the rights and the needs come together?
Yes, because why I'm saying this is basically the context is that the children seem to be getting a lot of it because of the fantastic work that all the NGOs, teachers, educational institutions are doing. But what the children are saying is that when we go back home, this is the environment we go to. The role modeling at home, the understanding there is completely different. So it's like they're going from, they're going to another planet. In school there is one planet, and the home is another planet, and they are not able to, obviously because of their status and position as children, as adolescents, they're not able to bring that and any understanding to the parents or the elders, because how would you know anything, and how can you talk to your elders this way? And so the request has been to see if anything can be done in the community, at a community level, not even at a school level, because when I have tried at the school level, I've had the same roadblocks as you have, which the principal itself won't allow you to address the parent in this manner. So at a community level, there is still, through NGOs, an opening to allow the parents to have a space to vent. If the parents are allowed to vent, first of all, their stresses, their issues, their problems with adolescents, what are they facing, it's like emptying the cup to some extent, and then you fill the cup with what they're open to listen to. So that's the strategy, and I'm wondering if anyone else is interested, can take it up. And
gender issues. I have worked a lot, because I have worked a lot in disasters. I have worked a lot on disaster and gender issues, and also in professional space and gender issues with various administrations. Okay, so I understand where you are coming from, but at the same time, I can also tell you, once the cup is emptied, when you try to fill up, they would come back and then tell you why it is not possible. So you really have to work hard to make those small changes, really small changes, which doesn't threaten them. Because it is a very threatening issue which we are all talking about. It's very easy to talk about life skills, but it is extremely threatening. For example, decision making. We talk about decision making all the time. How much decision making power a woman gets in a rural area? You tell me?
Yeah.
So when you say decision making, as on the blackboard, make your decisions. So you have to say that, see, it doesn't matter if you're not able to make decisions on what will you do with 100 rupees or 500 rupees which you got from the work today. Doesn't matter, but can you decide on something else? So you really need to work very, very individually to the community people, with the women, to understand how they can enhance their decision making. So because many of them will work, they are all independent women, but they do not have the ability to decide on what they do with their own money.